Hello everyone, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where in the world you're joining us from today, and thank you for joining us. I just have a few admin points to tick off before we begin. So firstly, the session will be recorded and it will be available on our website and other platforms after the webinar. And if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll do a little Q&A at the end to go through those. So firstly, it's lovely to see you here with us today. And for those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Renee and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Bamboom Cloud. For anyone who is new here, our aim here at Bamboom Cloud is to help organisations take the very best of the Microsoft Cloud in order to help them to transform and grow. Today's session, along with every other session in this webinar, will be focused on Dynamics 365 Business Central. Part of my role is to educate you and to help you to understand what you already have access to in Business Central, along with how we can add extra components to it to benefit your organisation through third-party extensions, which we often refer to as ISV solutions. Today won't be a deep dive tech session, and we aim to keep it in a language which enables you to understand what the products can do for you rather than what they are. Today's session will showcase and educate you on and help you understand how Astral's GoCardless solution can benefit you through the use of mandates and direct debit integration. I'm delighted to have Adam Flood with me here today to tell us more. So over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Renee, and hello, everybody. I, as promised, am Adam Flood, and yeah, I'm going to be taking you through what it is that we do at GoCardless and focusing on how we solve payment issues in the cloud. So I am a partnership manager. I've worked at GoCardless for 6 years, and I focus specifically working with our Microsoft Dynamics partnership ecosystem, whether it's with partners like Bamboom Cloud, with Microsoft themselves, and with the customers who use us. I'm also joined by Fabiola, who sits in our account executive team, who's worked with me on a number of our customers using Bamboom Cloud. Are you there, Fabiola?
Let me just make her a presenter. I can get that done for you now.
Well, she is here and she's kind of...
I am here, yes, correct.
There she is. Very good. So today, the agenda, what we're looking at is kind of thinking a bit around the pains of payments. You know, what are the issues that we're looking to solve, the value of getting those things right and solving those problems, and the solution for doing that, which is GoCardless for Business Central. So thinking about the pains that people see with payments, you know, it's very common that it's around failures, cash flow issues, the debtor days that are associated with that, and they can have pretty large knock-on effects for businesses not getting them right. You know, businesses go out of go under every year because of these sort of things, and yeah, it's very impactful. But what is the problems in the space that really relate to those, you know, final things that happen? So despite a wealth of payment innovation, you know, thinking things like Klarna, Apple Pay, there hasn't really for many years been any innovation thinking about recurring relationships when it comes to payments. So that's not just a subscription. We're thinking about a recurring need to collect a payment from a customer, whether that's B2B invoicing or a subscription. So the methods that are out there often are suboptimal to collect payments on a recurring basis. So when we look at cards, there's a high transaction fee, often 2 to 4%, and that's when it's on top of invoices and subscriptions, that really does add up. And then when you look at the failure rate, so connecting with a card, whether that's B2B or B2C, it will at some stage fail. You know, best case scenario, they got it that day, but we've all lost a card, had it stolen, and same for when businesses, a new card is added to the system, it causes a lot of failures, or can be as high as 15%. And when we think about the other payment method, bank transfer, it really is designed for one-off payments, right? So it is in the hands of the customer to pay. So are they going to pay on time? Often not always. And that leads to late payments, cash flow issues. And then the other side of that is the finance team who are managing that process, the manual work and the effort to collect those payments and an automated process. And then bank debit. So direct debit, that's UK, SEPA, the Eurozone, ACH in the US. These are designed for recurring payments, but they're quite old systems in that there's a lot of file uploads. There's probably people on here who manage payments who know what I mean with the addon and ADDX code and understanding all of these things. And each global currency has its own variants of that. So trying to get access to that global system is fraught. So altogether, these have, create these issues. And these issues, have costs associated with them. So when we think about the costs of payments, it's quite easy to just focus on the transaction fee. But when we look a little deeper, it's easy to see that it's just the tip of the iceberg. So transaction fees are typically 1% of total revenues. And associated with this, but it's often overlooked, are the fees for licenses, support, file submission, lots of other pieces that sit on top of that are much higher than the 1%. And then we have the total cost of payment operations. So here we're thinking about having engineering doing anything to add or create functionality, the finance team themselves managing manual submissions and reconciliation, and any operations and customer support to deal with payments queries. So these tend to be 3 times that of transaction fees, so 3%. And it's usually around 65% of that total fee is on staff costs alone. But then much higher than that is the total proportion of the business impact of payments. So what we mean by that is lost revenue, cash flow delays, the costs of that. So that tends to be 5 to 10% when it's mismanaged. So obviously getting transactions wrong has a much wider cost than the transaction fee alone. And this is where you might imagine that GoCardless step in. So we at GoCardless, we are a global bank debit network. We basically collect payments in 8 different regions using different schemes. With 5 different offices around the world. There's 600. That's probably out of date even at this moment. There's 70,000 businesses using GoCardless, many of which moved over from an old direct debit system to this cloud system that we offer. And what we've built is the first global payments platform for recurring invoices and subscriptions. So all the flags on the bottom are the currencies that we cover. We've stitched together all these different disparate direct debit schemes around the world and aggregated it into one platform, on top of which we basically extract away the complexities of all of those things. So all of the file processing, all of the changes to legislation that mean you have to update a BACS system, any FX and compliance that relates to using different schemes. We have a platform that sits kind of on top of that. And on top of those things, we've had payment success. So the ability to do smart retries using the data of all the transactions we process, the ability to use open banking as well, which I'm going to cover a little bit on. And all of that then connects directly into Business Central. So Bam Boom Cloud have utilized our integration, which is Astral GoCardless, and that sits within Business Central, ready to use, within no time at all. So Astral GoCardless is the name of the integration that sits within AppSource. So it's built by a third-party, Astral, and our technology partner. It's our official integration with all the schemes and features. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a demo now. I want to say I am actually, Renee, is because I couldn't get the sound to work. So am I able to hand over to you, Renee, to play that video? Do I need to stop sharing?
Sure, it's okay. I should be okay to just share this up. Yeah. And are you able to see my screen, Adam, just to double check before I start it off?
Astral GoCardless by Astral 365 is a multi-currency direct debit app that allows you to automatically set up customer direct debits and collect payments against them with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Take payments using customer mandates, create payment batches for multiple customer payments, create subscriptions, and easily process refunds. Using Astral GoCardless in Business Central couldn't be easier, so access it one of 2 ways, either through the Business Manager Role Center or by using the GoCardless Role Center. Here's a Business Manager Role Center. In the ribbon are the GoCardless tabs, and if you scroll down, you can see the GoCardless notifications. Switching to the GoCardless Roll Center, it contains even more easy access actions, such as the tabs in the ribbon, the quick actions, and the specific GoCardless notifications. But let's not forget the activities and insights into your GoCardless data too. Creating a mandate is quick and easy for you and your customers. Create your mandate and send the pay link to your customers for approval. Once they have confirmed their direct debit details, Business Central will be updated to show that the direct debit mandate has been completed once the notifications come through via the automated job queue process. The number of GoCardless mandates for a customer is visible from both the customer list and their card, and you can manage the completion of mandates via the Roll Center tiles by clicking on Incomplete Mandates. Create payment batches that can be based around mandates of a particular customer or based on mandates allocated to specific invoices. As you add more and more mandates, you will be saving time by running a weekly or monthly payment collection process for multiple customers. You will therefore be creating a batch of payments as opposed to processing individual payments, which allows you to save time every time. When it comes to direct debits, on average, 15% of card payments fail. GoCardless's integrated Success Plus feature uses recurring payment intelligence to predict and manage payment failures. This means that with Success Plus, you could recover on average 76% of failed payments. But what about our international customers, you ask? Well, with the borderless payments feature, this means that you can collect direct debit payments abroad and settle them back in your home country with FX dealt with automatically. If all that wasn't enough, Astral GoCardless allows you to collect payments in a number of currencies using a number of schemes. Be less reliant on large one-off payments and spread your business income across the year. Shrink your admin and benefit from predictable recurring revenue that is collected automatically. Astral GoCardless for Dynamics 365 Business Central. Directly control your GoCardless merchant account, putting you in control of swift and prompt payments.
Thank you, Renee. So let me know when I'm back in the hot
if you want
seat.
to just share your screen again.
Okay. Okay, that seems to be the sharing now, yes?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. And I think there's a question in the chat as well. I'm going to cover all those off at the end. So anything that comes up, please do feel free to let me know. So that's the next few slides, just looking a little bit about who's using the GoCardless with Business Central. So we have a whole spread of customers, from large dairy companies to smaller professional service outfits to telco, like B2B and B2C. There's a whole host of ranges. It's basically anybody using Business Central with a need to collect recurring payments, so ongoing relationships with customers, there's a fit for. So a couple of customers to highlight and some of the reasons why they were looking at us. So first is Bamboom Cloud themselves as a customer. So we obviously started working with them to help customers, people listening, to collect payments, but also there's a use case for them themselves, so they were doing monthly bill runs, and it was quite a manual process, sort of 10 hours plus of time chasing late payments, cash flow issues, and for the customers themselves involved, it could be, it's an issue to be chasing them and things like that. It's not ideal. And so moving to GoCardless, it's reduced all of that process right down to just 30 minutes, very much automated. It's more just a checking process. There hasn't been any sort of failures or issues yet in the first, I don't know how long, maybe it's 6 months of using it now, and maybe 3. and speaking to the finance credit controller who's using it, saying that it's been really easy change, and even as a creature of habit, she said it was very simple. She wanted to stress that, which is really nice to hear. And they're using the global coverage, so collecting from customers around the world. And another is Big Blue Broadband. So they were processing direct debit directly with their bank. These two customers both doing it with the bank already. And they didn't have any direct debit integrated with Business Central. So operating payments outside was creating a big cost and a headache. And so now they've moved to GoCardless. Processing and reporting is much easier than they were experiencing with their other providers. And so their kind of main feature that's helping them is the automatic reconciliation with Business Central. Both of these customers moved from GoCardless, to GoCardless from the bank, but we have many customers as well, direct debit users for the first time, maybe from another provider, and sort of ramping up, moving away from things that were a headache, such as bank transfer, checks, or maybe cards that were causing costs. So they're just two kind of advocacy pieces there. And so this is just a bit on the kind of headline returns of investment that businesses see using it. So these figures are from the IDC report and Forrester. And the headline figures are that is a 56% reduction in total cost of payments. So that's all of the pieces that sit around the transaction fees, which I talked about at the start. There's reducing the days for payments outstanding by 47%, so helping that cash flow speed right up. And for those using cards, it's reducing churn. So that is customers, usually in the B2C space, but B2B a little bit, who effectively sleepwalk out of service. They want to pay, but their cards fail, and then you lose them because of that. So reducing the customers that leave for that reason by 21%. And I just wanted to touch very quickly on instant bank pay. So I mentioned it very quickly, that open banking, and what we offer is direct debit in many of the cases. But I've worked at the company for 6 years, and in the past year or so, we've really ramped up the level of innovation that we can offer to businesses with regards to fast payment. So open banking is this big thing that was mandated by through European legislation about banks opening up their systems to APIs, and we're using that, and we can now initiate instant bank transfers, right? So that is still pulling payments from people's accounts. It means that you can collect a payment instantly in your bank account. Time to take that payment can be 12 seconds. It settles within 1 day. It's competitive at a 54% reduction on this when you compare that to card payments, and it's a very low failure rate because it's directly from a bank account. There aren't any failures that come there. So it is something that is of massive interest for use cases such as taking that first payment if you need a payment before you ship a good, or maybe before you start a digital subscription. It's great for that, maybe for a one-off payment for a large overusage, or an event that might happen, or you can use it to collect recurring payments as well. So it's something it's pretty new and quite exciting, and I just wanted to highlight that as something that is seeming very popular. So thank you for listening. I'm going to hand over to some questions now, but so some next steps if you want to learn more. I've talked a little bit about migration. A lot of customers who use us with the Business Central piece are moving from an old system to a cloud payment system that matches your cloud solution that you've moved to Business Central. So if you want to learn about how we manage that for you, and how we manage the cost of it and everything, you can speak to us about that. If you're new to bank debit, bank transfer, instant bank pay, can talk to you about any of those things, and also pricing and packages. So it very much depends on your size, the sort of volumes you're looking to process. So Fabiola would be someone who would be talking to you about that. So I'd love to schedule a 20-minute follow-up call where you can talk about any of those things. That's my email. I'll be sending some follow-ups as well. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, everyone. And please, any questions, I'd be happy to hear them.
Just a quick note as well there, and thanks so much, Adam. Even if you are, or if you've never thought about bank debit in the past, but you're curious about the metrics or the cost savings that it could bring to the business, or the improvements that this could bring on operational processes or costs itself, like I'm always more than happy with Adam to look into your existing metrics and show you how bank debit could make a difference. So yeah, even if you haven't considered it in the past, we've had businesses that have evaluated GoCardless from a business impact point of view, and it has been of extreme value, like Adam said. So always have to have a conversation.
Thanks, Fab.
Yeah, thank you both very much. And we've just got 3 questions in the chat. If you're happy to run through them, Adam, I don't know if you kind of want to read them out and then go.
Yes, absolutely. I can't see them, so why don't you ask them to me?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. So does GoCardless just cover direct payments and not direct debit, sorry, and not card payments?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, so what we focus on is bank payments. So we're kind of probably more than that. I'd say what we're focused on is collecting payments that have a recurring nature to them. So basically the best way to collect payments at an efficient and low cost and customer preference way. And so we're focusing on the payment methods that are associated with bank payments. So whether that's instant bank pay, open banking, direct debit. So yeah, we just offer that as we see that's the best way to reduce costs around those type of payments.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then we have another question that's how secure is it with regards to GDPR and customer bank details?
Yeah, great question. So using direct debit used to be quite a headache with regards to that, right? Like you are taking bank details. If you're taking them over the phone, if you're writing them down on paper, you're getting customers to send them, then it's on you to manage that. And especially with regards to GDPR, like how you would store it, that is a headache. What GoCardless do is we take that information, the way that we create a direct debit mandate, whether your customer does it online via a payment page, whether you take it over the phone and you enter it into Business Central and that sends it via API, we take the bank information, we store and encrypt the information, and what is sent back and is used to communicate to us from Business Central to collect the payment is a tokenized ID. So that protects your customer, it removes any GDPR issues, and it future-proofs the need of if you ever need to move systems around. So you still own the relationship with that end customer and their direct debit details, so you can move it around if you needed to another provider in the future. But from a storage perspective, GoCardless encrypts it and looks after it, and we are FCA approved and all the good stuff around it that you'd expect. ISO 27001 compliant. So yeah, all of our systems are good.
That's great. And then the last one we've got, is there a limit or maximum amount that can be collected in a single transaction?
So I don't know, Fabiola, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, it normally tends to be from £1 onwards. So anything from £1, we should be able to collect that.
Was it a maximum that the question was?
Oh, sorry, the maximum. Well, it depends on the nature of the organization. I'm keen to hear, Shannon, what's the sort of size of payments that you're thinking about. We tend to be able to process payments up to about 100K with some certain limitations on how much we can go after that. But for a direct debit business, it's pretty large, the amount that we can process compared to any other providers. So,
and with instant bank pay, it's larger than that, right?
Yeah, so if you wanted to collect payments with our instant bank payment feature, then it can be even larger than 100K. I don't have the exact figure in mind, but yeah, it would be very edge cases that would fall over the 100K payment. So that's a large enough number.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, thank you to Fabiola and Adam for presenting for us today, and thank you for everyone for attending. I just want to put a reminder out there that the sessions are recorded, so will be available to watch after the website, on the website, sorry. And we'll be in contact with everyone who's attended today to follow back. If you have any feedback on the session, obviously we're happy to hear it. And if you've enjoyed today and you're an existing client with us, please feel free to get in touch with your account manager for more information. And to any new clients that are looking to get in touch with us, the contact details are just on screen as well. We do have a Power BI demo starting in a minute, so if you are joining us on that, I will see you there.